How do you feel about an Article 5?
Well, I'm actually on record on this on 2 occasions. And
This will be the third.
well, I mean, when I say on record, I mean I voted on it.
Okay.
And in Senate State Affairs, and I did vote in opposition to it twice. And it was brought up in front of my committee. I believe it would, in terms of Idaho's potential participation, I believe it would have been around 2012, 2014, right in there. And then, Sherry, I did so for 2 reasons. By the way, not all issues are created equal. And is there room for debate on this? You betcha. Okay, and I accept that. And I understand, I think, the arguments on both sides. But ultimately, for me, I have 2 levels of discomfort. One is similar to the point that I think you just made, which is we have a fabulous document right now. One of the problems is that we're not following it. And so if we change it, what's the validation or what's the assurance that we will start following it? The second thing is, and I do understand there's some precautions that can be taken, but the culture is so different right now than it was in 1787. If there were another convention today, I believe that with the current tenor, there would be a move to remove the Second Amendment. And it's emotional. It's something that's driven much more in the East than there is in the West. But nevertheless, I just see a danger there. And I know enough from being a worldwide traveler and business guy, and at least enough of a historian, that it has never worked out well for the populace if they're disarmed. And I'm fearful of that somehow coming up if we do another convention. And again, I know that there's potential precautions that you can take, but I also know, as a parliamentarian in a legislative setting for a lot of years, there's procedures that you can use parliamentary-wise to change any rule, okay? And so I've got anxiety about that, and that's why I have opposed it.
And your feelings on the Second Amendment, let's get real specific on it. Do you see any time at all when the Second Amendment should not be somebody's permit?
Rephrase that for me again. I'm not sure I understood that.
Well, a lot of people, we have permitless carry
Oh, yeah.
here in Idaho. And there's a lot of debate on that as to whether or not it was a good move. For other states, you know, they're looking at Idaho as kind of a leader on this, and they want to see, you know. I believe that the Second Amendment is enough of a permit for the citizens.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you. I do. And by the way, I did help on that issue in Idaho, and I do too. And you know, I was raised in a home, in an environment where, quite honestly, it was just so normal to. A gun wasn't a devastating weapon. It was a tool like anything else that we had in our home, and we were properly educated and trained how to use it just like any other tool. And so, to me, it doesn't have the stigma that it may to others. But that was put in place by the founders of this nation because they had both the recent experience and the foresight to know that it's an armed citizenry that is a significant guard against government shenanigans, whether it's the existing government or somebody else's that wants to threaten. And they took the view, I believe rightfully and divinely inspired, that it's the citizen that's the pinnacle of governance. It's not some elected person or a appointed bureaucrat. And so I came to the view, and I've shared this publicly, and I'll share it again, the viewpoint that you never trust a government with a gun that won't trust you with one. And so that's a non-negotiable issue for me. That needs to stay intact. That's all the permit we should have to have.